Memories of working with Demolition.
I had a lot of respect for both those guys. They were both. Bill Eadie in particular was a great wrestler. He was one of the best workers of that time period.
Barry Darsow was my old tag team partner back in Florida. Khrushchev.
I remember when we worked the first SummerSlam. I think we lost to him. But I remember I came up with the idea for me to slingshot Jim over the top rope, which was a fairly ballsy move for Jim to do. I talked Jim into it. And then once I had Jim talked into it, the Demolition, they both were like, we're not going to catch him. 300-pound man.
Darso's the only guy who could catch me.
But you know what? They didn't want to do it. Bill and Barry, and I kept talking to them, and I kept explaining to them. And you know what? They saw it. They said, and I know that both of them came back and said, we'll do it. We'd like to do it. And that was a case of 4 professionals going in there and sort of understanding that we were doing something. I mean, I might not sound like much in today's world.
Right to the hard camera.
But anytime you slingshot a 300-pound man over the top rope and expect 2 guys to catch, you try catching 300 pounds sailing over the top rope.
Right.
747.
And they. I remember it was like I ran that whole SummerSlam match was my match. I think I came up with the whole match. I ran it by Demolition, who were the champions, and that's a courtesy that's there up to them whether we'll do it or not. This is a suggestion kind of thing about a week or 10 days before the match, and they didn't want to do it. And over the week, 10 days, they thought about it on their own. And I remember we got to SummerSlam that day, and they said, "We can see what you see, and let's do it." Like they got with it and said, like, we'd like to do it. And I remember, I'll never forget, Jake Roberts telling me that it was the highlight of the whole SummerSlam. It was SummerSlam '88 in the Garden. And you watch it when I slingshot Jim over the top rope in a match where we're losing. You can see every fan in the Garden stand up. The whole building stands up. When you see Jim coming over the top rope, you look at the camera, and you can see every person in the building stand up. And we blew the roof off the building. I remember Jake Roberts telling me it was the best match of the card was Hart Foundation Demolition.
Your matches with the Rockers, Shawn and Marty.
All I know, I was 50 pounds heavier than those 3 guys. And so they're all moving at a really fast pace. And I had to keep up with it. And so I did my strongman moves, and we did a lot of 20-minute Broadways, 30-minute Broadways.
I remember I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of respect for both of them. And I always had a lot of respect for Shawn and Marty. Shawn was a great athlete. Probably still is a great athlete. And Marty was, I would say, if anything, Marty was the captain of the team more so than Shawn. And Marty was always a hard worker, always a good worker, always. He was always there. They were a good team. They had a certain chemistry and a style together, and there was a lot of coordination in everything that they did in relation to us. I never had any problems with Shawn and Marty. If anything, I think when we first tagged up with them, we knew that it was almost as important for them as it was for us to have a great match. And we did, and we kind of knew it. I think a lot of people saw that as, I always look at it as versatility for us. The Hart Foundation was, I always say, it was a tank and a Porsche, as I used to say in the interviews. But we were really.
So now we have 3 little a Porsche and 2 little Mazda Miatas, and 1 tank.
You know,
and the tank seemed to be every night going.
That was the beauty of Jim and me as a team, was that we could work with the Bulldogs.
Right.
We could work with the Demolition. We could work with the Powers of Pain, and then we could work with the Rockers. Whereas a lot of if you switch it around the other way, it wasn't so easy.